And it is a real joy to me to know Mary Flynn O'Neil. And she's become a wonderful friend. I don't know where Mary's sitting right now, but she's in the house. She is a busy lady. America's Future is a huge, huge organization. And she is the executive director of America's Future, has her hands in lots of other things besides being the sister to two full generals, Mike Flynn, Charlie Flynn, both U.S. generals, and from an amazing family. And when I see her, I always say, "Hail Mary, full of grace and truth." But anyway, Mary O'Neil is here with us. And, you know, it was really amazing. What I did is I prayed about the board members that I felt like we needed to have on this piece of heaven. And, you know, I wrote their names down, and I thought to myself, these people are, they carry huge responsibility. They're movers and shakers. They're world changers. And the chance of them saying yes to be on another board for another guy doing another thing is pretty slim. But I wrote them all out there, and that I contacted each one, and every one of them said yes, would love to. And I knew that was the favor of God. But we're really honored for a piece of heaven to have on the board Mary Flynn O'Neil. And again, she's the executive director of America's Future. Let's welcome Mary as she comes. Hail Mary, full of grace and truth. I love you, sweetheart.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Please, I'm very honored to be here. I don't know if I can follow this pastor, though. Holy cow. You guys you're the best. This is exactly what a pastor should be doing. This is what this country needs. They need these people, these men, these women. They need this role of the church is so important. It could save this country. Never mind save the children, right? Children are the most precious of all. Of all God's gifts, children. Right? It's a real drive. It's been a drive in my family since I was a little girl. My mother was one of the founding women of the national right to life in this country. We watched her fight with senators and congressmen and representatives. We watched her run for office only on the pro-life movement platform, and drag around 9 children. And Michael and I, General Flynn, Michael and I would be the 2 kids that we were the age where we would be old enough to understand what she was saying, like yelling and screaming at a senator. Michael would be the one that would, he talks about this too. He talks about how he watched his mother yell at a senator. But I watched her behavior. He watched what she said and, did exactly what she told him. Go get the car, Michael. And I'd say, what is she doing? How does she do that, yelling at this senator? So I grew up watching my mother fight people, men, mostly men, because, those days, even my mother, 9 children, my parents had 9 children, have 9 children, they were looked at like, you're crazy lady with all these kids, okay? Really. I mean, she talked about this a lot, that, kids were not looked up to be, like, it wasn't cool to have all these children. Look at this lady, my mother, they would do this. this is with all these kids and the baby and this, they're running all over the place. That kind of thing. I mean, that was something that really got my mother, was that people were very discouraging about children. And so we grew up like this. And we grew up with a mother and a father who stood strong by her side and loved the ground she walked on, because that's what she did, is love her children. And she taught us to be loyal to each other and to fight for the righteous movement of children. The movement of children at that time was to destroy population, right? Population control. These evil people were starting to, tell us how many children we can have, tell young women to abort their babies. And I'm telling you this because this is where we have gone from there. Now we're here. And we have the largest, massive amount of children missing in this country, the biggest buyers and seller of child crime. These are crimes against children. All these crimes against children, they're all grooming, everything. Trafficking, slavery, all of it. Organ harvesting, everything they can do to purchase a child and use that child to make money. They're doing that. This is where we are. We are in REV17. We are in the highest level of evil ever existed today. And when these pastors talk about this movement, this war, what we need to do, we need to dilute the evil, dilute it, and grow the Christian light. I mean, the good light of Christ. We need that. We need to fill that cup high so we dilute that evil and crush it. Because that's what they're doing to children. They're just sacrificing children. They're just using children over and over again. And it's insane, the level of evil that's going on. And it's going on in this country. Believe it. And I'm talking, this audience is looking at me, and you've heard me speak, many of you, but I'm talking to all the thousands of people that are listening to this live, okay? When I got involved with America's Future, my brother asked me to come and work for him. And I had just left the Catholic Church. And I was a person who, thought my Catholic faith was just wonderful. And I still love my Catholic faith. But I knew the religious end of this, the institution, was the problem, okay? Now, I'm going to say this because I'm a finance compliance auditor. That's what I do, okay? And when I found money laundering and money and the theft of money, that's when my life changed, because Michael had asked me to come and work for him and run this organization, which, by the way, is 80 years old. Okay, 1946, this organization started, and there were men and women that were trying to warn the American people about the 1,000 organized communist groups in this country. In 1946. And now we have radical Islam working with CCP, okay, together, enemies working together, enemies, and these enemies use children over and over for their own evil, means, right? And they make money off of children, okay? I just had a report come in, intel report come in, that said that 500 women were going to start talking about how they were sold off at 13, 14 years old to men in this country. men in this country. They're now adults, and you'll start hearing their voices, thank God. Because that is a big issue. That's a big issue. See, the more we expose this stuff, the more we talk about this stuff, the more we educate people on this stuff, because it's in every neighborhood. Every single neighborhood has children being trafficked or crimes against children in your neighborhood. Every neighborhood in this country. Because that border was wide open. And we needed a new supply. They needed a new supply of children to hurt. Okay? That's what they do. They just need a new supply. CCP and the radical Islam is a serious threat right now. Okay? And this is a multi-billion-dollar business, children, okay? And this human trafficking, but they are all crimes against children. Human crimes, humanity, okay? And by the way, let me tell you another story. I just had a couple of veterinarians come forward. Well, now they're reporting that they're getting an influx of animals in their offices that have been sexually abused. Okay? So I'm going to tell you, that's the level we are at. There was a huge bust that took place a couple of months ago. 8 men down in Florida were arrested. The pornography that they discovered was insane. And I told you that story about animals. So I'm telling you, this is the seriousness of the evil that's going on right now. So a person can purchase for $100 over 1 million videos of children. It's violent. It's that bad. It's so violent that this is a time in our lives that we must stand up against this. We've got to stand against this evil. We cannot take this anymore. It's got to be a fight to stop this with children, okay? It's got to stop. I'm going to read something to you because General Flynn just sent out a message tonight. I want to stay on track because I have so much to say. I can't even tell you how many stories I could tell you, but, you know, I want to say this. Our nation's heritage is like no other, okay? It's like no other. And I want to motivate you to be Americans and to understand American exceptionalism. It's what I do in America's future, okay? We do a lot of things, but I want you to understand, as Americans, we have to understand we are exceptional, okay? And we can do this. We can beat evil. We already have, right? Christ died for us. We already won this war, but it's going to be very hard. And how many lives are we going to, watch suffer? And little kids don't need this. This is incredible. Americans are endowed with the birthright of freedom. That's what we're endowed. He gave us this land for that reason. Our rights come from God and are of His making. It's of His making. We are a nation of people with the spirit of self-reliance, self-determination, resilience, and respect for the dignity of life. Don't forget that. We have forgotten that. And the belief that government serves we the people and not the other way around. It is not the other way around. There is no other country in the history of mankind like this country, like the United States. And I say that because we need to grip the fact that this is a dark, dark stain on our country. And we got to face that. We got to face that. We got to face our mistakes. We've got big mistakes. And that's why it's so important for us to really work hard to, one, listen to the victims and the survivors and the overcomers, okay, who have been through, and there's a lot of them, you guys. There's a lot of them. It's one of the reasons that I said to my brother that I wanted to do this project, Defend and Protect Our Children. And it's because of Pastor Dave is the reason that I wanted to do this and what he's doing with Piece of Heaven. Because I looked at society, I researched, I went through the data, I taught myself, and by the way, teach, please get educated. There's so many things that you can learn about this stuff that it'll blow your mind. I mean, criminals are 6 years ahead of law enforcement, first of all. They're constantly infiltrating people like us to see what we're doing to teach you guys. So it's really important that you understand that. Learn, okay? But the reason that I wanted to do the project I did and started, and we go around the country and we go into churches, because that's where they hide, in churches. Anywhere children are, pedophiles. 4 generations of pedophiles, by the way. 4 generations, goes back to the Nazis, okay? And I can go on about St. Gallen, Switzerland, the Catholic Church, and how they infiltrated this country, and how they groomed the priests. I can go on and on about that. But I'm going to tell you that that's the reason what you guys are doing, what Piece of Heaven is about, is what I thought to myself, holy Broccoli Inspector. If you guys remember that cartoon. What are we going to do with society? What is society going to look like if all these kids and all these people that have grown up being abused, and by the way, familial trafficking is huge, okay? You saw this in COVID, during COVID. It increased a huge amount, okay? Familial, look that up. But I thought to myself, we're going to have a society full of deviance, perversion, and we're going to have a society there of criminals. So that's the reason that this economy, this trafficking economy, these crimes against children, and I call it an economy, okay, needs to be eradicated. It needs to be eradicated, but what are we going to do with all these kids? We've got to heal them. They need places to go. They have to have places to go. We need every single church in this country taking children in and taking care of these children and loving them. There are so many different kinds of trauma that it's incredible, you guys. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. What Pastor Dave is doing is creating a piece of heaven for children that have nobody, that have no way of understanding what love is. There's no love in their hearts. They have been cold. They have been shut down. They have been darkened. They have been taken by the dark spirits and turned and twisted. And we have to fix them. We have to have places like Piece of Heaven to do this. And I'm going to tell you something. This couple is probably the couple. I mean, I came here and joined here. I mean, I didn't have a place to go, but I came here, and I tell you something. What they do is very, very, very special. It's very unique, and they will build a piece of heaven that will be very unique to them. and to the way they deal, and they're good people. And each of these facilities, each of these places, these pieces of heaven, need to be places that are just spectacular. I don't care. We need like 10 in every state, you know, and that's what we need. And we need people to give money to support these things. That's where you put your money. You put your money into a place like Piece of Heaven that supports the children. If we can turn around and God can forgive us, He can forgive us if we start to heal these children. And by the way, God told me this, and I don't get dreams. I don't get dreams. I always think that's fascinating when people talk about their dreams and their visions. I don't. The Lord downloads to me. That's what He does. So I will stand there and all of a sudden, boom, right in the back of the head. That's what happens to me. You know, and so when I say, you know, this is what He told me, I'm telling you, what He told me was, if we do our job to save these children and to heal this country, to heal the children, heal the country, heal the world, okay? Then these are going to be the next leaders and founders, new founders, just like the founding fathers in this country. Just like the founding fathers in this country, these children are going to be the new founding fathers and mothers of a new world. And it really is going to be a new world. He promised us. The Lord promised us. He promised us. And I believe everything that He has promised us. And by the way, we have to have patience. That's another virtue. We must have patience. His timing is exquisite. It's exquisite. It's just perfect. So we need to have patience, but we also need to have this anger, righteous anger, because this is something that makes people angry. There are children all over this country that have absolutely nobody. Can you imagine these children in a place like Pizza Heaven? Pizza Heaven? This place is going to be incredible. I mean, the love that you people have, that you've given me and you've given my brother and my family, that's the kind of love that you cannot ever, like, understand. Like, that's the love that people have, the American people and the world gave my family, is the kind of love that these children need. They really do. You don't forget that. These children are going to be amazing. And I see that. That's what the Lord has said to me. That, Mary, I love you and I love the children, but they're going to be the leaders. They're going to be the ones that will rise up and take this country and get rid of all this stuff that's going on. They're the best. They're going to be the best of the best. They're going to be the best of the best. And I see that because I have two of my grandchildren, and I would like you to stand up, please. Trinity and Kingston. These two little kids are miracles. They are miracles. They were born on Christmas Day. And they're the reason, as babies, that I got in this fight against family court. And they're the reason that I got in this fight against CPS, okay, and foster care. And by the way, I have traveled this country. There are good places doing good work with foster care. In fact, you can use the system to do the work, you know, okay? Right now, there are people that are using the system, but they're doing good work. I know this. This is happening in Spokane. It's happening in a couple of places. But let me tell you, if one child has been hurt in foster care, this is a finance compliance person, okay? If one person steals money, then I would take that whole system and I would burn it. Because one child, $1 bill was stolen, that means the rest of it's corrupt. I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel. 1 child in foster care. That means the whole system needs to be broken apart and taken someplace else. We've got to build a new world. We have to build new systems. Out of the system, get out of the old, get into the new. Okay? I mean, the trillions of dollars that Doge found, okay, that just HHS, okay, just HHS went through Mallorca to do what they did to traffic these children and to put children into the hands of very, very dangerous cartel and bad people. That damage is insane, you guys, okay? 4 years that we just went through did so much damage to children and this society, you don't even know. I'm telling you, you don't. They dug their claws in so deep during Biden. My brother said that in 2016, it was a hostile takeover, okay? Like he's been into a country and it was like a hostile takeover. But because Trump that election was stolen from him, and it was, and God bless Trump just announced that they're going to do an investigation on that 2020. That's going to be a big deal. 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 You watch this. And by the way, there's a lot of arrests coming. There's a lot of arrests coming. They're going to arrest. They have to. They don't have any choice. The mandate came down from we the people to do this, and he's going to make sure that happens. I know it. That HHS, though, that HHS, so that 4 years that this criminal entity came into power, okay, that takeover, Pastor, that bureaucracy that you don't like, nobody likes it, that dug in deep, okay, you guys, deeper. And they used more money, and they spent more money, and they dug deeper this past 4 years. Well, you know, Biden, that was a very, very, very destructive time. They did that on purpose. They did that on purpose because that's what happens in criminal entities. You know, so they made it so nobody was working, but all this nefarious activity was going on. More money was being used, USAID, Catholic Charities, Lutheran Social Services, and the Jewish Foundation. Every single one of these religion institutes have their hands in child trafficking. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. There's always a dark side to the good side, right? There's always this. And by the way, pornography and AI, please understand how dangerous AI is. Very, very dangerous. I just saw images of a toddlers, there was a bunch of toddlers, and they looked like cute little dolls, but they had bellies. That's what they're making normal. Like these little toddlers, little beautiful little dolls are pregnant. Okay? AI. Normalizing this sexualizing of children we cannot stand for this. We cannot stand for this. And don't be afraid to stand up for this, you guys. Stand in that gap together. Together. Stand in that gap. There is always somebody in your circle that will say, I'll help you. I'll come with you. I'll talk to somebody about this. I'll do something to help you beat this. California wants to normalize pedophilia like you don't even know. That case in Tennessee that we just won, that case in Tennessee is going to change this mutilation of children, this genderizing, all this stuff. That's a big case. This is the kind of stuff that we have to fight for. Okay? So I'm going to just read something that General Flynn just tweeted out. Okay? Because I was like, wow, you are great. You really are. He's right on target too. Like he's in this fight like nobody's in this fight. Okay? This man has been all over the world, and he knows exactly what this evil is. He knows what this evil is against children. He's seen it. He just tweeted out, this is crazy. The Democratic Party is filled with communists who are evil POS, right? Pedophiles who believe in death instead of life, darkness instead of light, and lies instead of truth. They have become a death-worshiping cult. Okay, and I will call out anyone in the GOP or any walk of life as well who falls prey to the mental disease of pedophilia. He goes on to say, raping or abusing a child in any way is abhorrent, and those caught should receive the death penalty. Right, Boz? Right, Boz? Right, Boz? That's a big tweet. That's a big tweet. And he's got POTUS, he's got Vance, he's got everybody on that. That's a big deal. You know, the pressure, he's funny too, because he'll say to us, keep the pressure on, guys, keep the pressure on. Because there's so many false flags and there's so many other things going on that distract us. Okay, you know, and by the way, this Iranian thing, it is a serious thing, but you know what? The Iranian people, they know freedom. They want freedom. You know, that's what our country should have been doing, is instead of wars, bogus wars, we should have been freeing the world. We should have been spreading our gospel freedom, right, to others all over the world. And that's where we failed, you know. So, you know, the Iranian thing, the Israel's country, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. They are. Because God knows. Because that's God's land. That's his land. So he will take care of things. But, you know, it's just unbelievable that we have to understand that this stuff is going on with all these Islams and all this radical stuff. But then we have to deal with child abuse like this, child crimes against children like this. You know, this is what we got to deal with. This is what our country is doing to children, buying and selling. By the way, the average person who buys pornography is from 30 to 40 years old, white, and married with 2 children. That's an average. And right around this church, you have about, I think, 212 sex offenders in about a 3-mile radius of this church. There's a lot going on in communities. The reality is, please, get educated, okay? Get close to God, get close to Christ, okay? And understand that we need peace of heaven. These places where children can be loved and healed. And we need everybody in the community to participate in this, okay? One of the biggest problems that we have in the conservative movement, and I watched this when I first came into it, was, you know, the conservative movement, they don't stay on point like the left does. The left, they get up in the morning, one word is said, and they all say it, right? You've seen that before. And the other thing they do is they give all their funds and all their extra money to the cause. And we have a lot of wealthy conservatives, okay? But like my brother and I have been, you know, a part of that. You know, they want to take pictures with him, and they want him to be around, and you know, they want us to be around. But when it comes to their wallets, they don't help. It's a problem in the conservative movement. They don't help. They want to know, well, what are you going to do? Or what are you going to, and when it comes to children and giving money, I've been through this, okay? When I started PDPC, it's hard. It's hard to get money. And because we need money. We have to have money. We can't do things without money. And this resource, we have to have it. And I know because I'm a finance compliance and I'm an expert at nonprofit, especially, I know people have been using and abusing donors' money. I know this, okay? But we have to go to the organizations, okay, that are good. And there are good ones. Actually, if Doge found all that money, and instead of freezing new organizations, they should have put new precedent into the new building of the system by making preference to what they need to do today. So we could still be building good companies and doing it the right way, because there's a lot of good organizations. This is one of them. This organization that is building this piece of heaven are good people. They are people that don't take money from the government. First of all, that's the number one thing you want to know. Are you, as a nonprofit, taking money from a church especially, okay? Because a church can stand alone. Church doesn't need an entity. It doesn't need to be a C3. It doesn't need it. It's in the Constitution. And I know, because I did this with the Catholic Church. They sign a document that says none of this money shall be used for faith-based programs. So you can't save souls. You're going to do exactly what I tell you to do, and you are going to tell people through the government what my mandate is, that's why the Catholic Church never backed pro-life. They never did. Never. Very rare did you have a priest on that pulpit saying, don't vote for this guy because he believes in abortion. How dare we? How dare we? How dare we, as churches, as spiritual leaders, as people of faith, listen to that crap? Honestly, how dare we listen to that crap? I mean, I cannot believe how the wool's been pulled over on so many Christians with some of these spiritual leaders. And I mean that. My goal this year is to make sure facilities get built for children to get healed, because we've got to heal these children. We cannot allow this anymore. Okay? There's too many children that need help. They need help. And the other thing is, the role of the church is going to be my target. I am done with pastors and spiritual leaders and priests that do not stand by what they're supposed to be doing in their role as a spiritual leader. Christ is very, very unhappy with many, okay? That's why he tipped the tables in the temple. And he did that because now, and here we are now, big business. That's what some of these churches are, big business. It's awful. It's actually shameful. Because not only do you guys as taxpayers, you just realized how much money you got ripped off. The government's been ripping you off. Me too. I'm in this. We're all in this, okay? But if you're going to a church and you're giving your money, you've been now ripped off double. Double. Because you're not only being ripped off by the government, but you're being ripped off by your pastor, who's not telling you the truth. That's it. That's what I'm going to tell you. Because I'm on a rampage. They call me the bulldog. I am the bulldog. I'm born between generals, and I learned to watch these guys, grow up, and it was wonderful. And it's a blessing. But I learned that, standing your ground and standing up for the right reasons and the truth is all you need to do, okay, in life. You're going to feel so good, okay? So my message to you, and I'll end. I could go on forever because I love to talk to you guys. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. You're just wonderful. And as a Flynn, I want to thank you all for helping and praying for my family and being a part of my family, because we're here to fight with you guys. We'll never stop fighting. My brother and I, my family, will never stop fighting. So I'm going to end, and I'm going to ask everybody watching this out there in TV land and pod land, podcast land, because I know there's thousands. Please, please give your money to Piece of Heaven. Let's get this facility going. Let's see this shining light on the hill. This little place that could grow into a massive place for children. Okay? Well, God bless you. I want to end and say God bless you and thank you for everything you guys do and being here with us. And thank you, everybody out there watching. Thank you, Pastor.